Hey, it's Eric and Ped on the Followtonians. Show 200 is finally being made. So after who knows how long, and just schedules in life and everything, and Ped becoming a superstar journalist, we finally have time to get together and talk about Everton. So how's it going, Ped?
It's okay. I wouldn't. Superstar journalist might be a little bit too far. Um,
Hey, if you
su-
do eight
Superstar
hours
blogger.
live
Superstar blogger.
transfer deadline day show in London, you're kind of a big thing. People know you. Do you have tons and tons of leather-bound books?
I do. I do. I
Does,
do.
does the
I've,
room you're
I've,
sitting in smell of
I've,
mahogany?
yeah, I was gonna say Rich Mahogany. It's weird because this is our 200 show, and there's like nothing grand about it at all, is there? It's just it's just it's like no
Yeah,
big
we
no.
we made a big deal of show
Yeah,
100,
this is
and
literally this is how far we've fallen. It was like no, big 100 prizes, guests, balloons, animals. This is just like, yeah, we found some time to talk, and let's quickly jump in with that spare 45 minutes we have in our life, and let's just chat about Everton. Yeah, it's 200.
yep, it's 9 a.m. Sunday morning for me. Wife is still in bed. Ped, it's like 3 in the
Three,
afternoon.
3 o'clock. Yeah.
Nothing much going on for you on a
No.
Sunday. So yeah, quick. Yes, let's do a show quick.
Do it,
All
do
right.
it.
So
We have
so
a gap. There's a gap.
yeah, mind the gap, right? let's get let's
But
get his
can I,
Palatonians in real quick.
before we go into what we're going to talk about,
What are we
if
going to talk about?
well, I don't know,
I
but
don't-
if there are people who've been listening since like day one, we thank you. We thank you all. We thank anyone who's listened to just one episode. Um,
Mostly we're sorry, but thank you.
lots of people have been saying, "When's have you guys finished?"
Yeah, is
No,
it
no,
over? Is it
no, no. We're
Palatonians? We
just
have no website anymore. We hardly
no.
ever
We do not
tweet.
have a web. Do not blame us for the website. It got destroyed in like a website fire or something. I don't even know.
Yeah,
We're still trying to find out where our website is. It literally just went into the void, and we don't know how. We can't really moan too much because we never paid for it, and we never like really did anything cost wise to it. We got most of it for free, which won't surprise anybody who knows me. Um,
and,
so we
and we
can't.
and we have gotten what we paid for.
Yeah, we can't really moan at anyone because the guys who looked after it just give us it for free, so we can't really moan at anyone. It's just gone into the ether. I don't think it's not going to end the world that we don't have a website. I
We've
don't know.
got Facebook, we've got Twitter,
It probably helped to get a few more shows out there, but we've been doing this for 5 years, and
SoundCloud.
we just get on with it. If people
Our,
listen to this, and if they
the
don't, they don't.
RSS feed's still there. It works. These shows, whenever we do them, get put on iTunes still.
Yeah, that's it. SoundCloud is our website now. That's where it all goes down. We do what we do.
So what did we talk about last time, Ped?
I
I think
think
we talked. I think we talked after the very first match.
we
I don't
did.
think we've talked since. So we,
No,
we won at Southampton,
we
very
did.
convincingly. Great,
hmm
great match. Looked really good on the counterattack. Imagine that.
hmm
Crosses from the wing when we get wide work.
That was like the template, wasn't it, for the that was like the template for the how Everton need to play. Basically, I think we'd
Yep.
won the week before about Watford, and that was and the fact that nothing seemed to have moved on from the season before, and then we get to the Southampton game, and suddenly we find this way of playing that I think we talked about counter-attacking football is the
hmm
way of suiting this team, and everything fell our way that day, and I think that's definitely the template for the rest of the season, and if we can sort of blend the way Roberto Martinez wants to play at home towards that. But counter attacking suits our team. It always has suited Roberto Martinez's team. The team is full of forward thinking players and pace, and that's definitely the way we need to be set up.
Then after Southampton, what match was next? I'm completely lost. Was it the Cup
Manchester
tie or was it City?
It was Manchester City.
City, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just horrible.
Yeah, listen, we got beat by a very,
We were
very good.
outclassed.
We got beat by a very, very good team, and it showed the massive differences between where the two clubs are, financially and in depth as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, comes from financials, and Tim Howard was awful for both goals.
Yeah.
He did make like 4 or 5 really good saves, but he was awful for both goals. So
But 10 really good saves get canceled out by one awful goal.
Not in my head, they don't. I'm afraid. Maybe in some people's heads, but not in my head.
Okay.
Especially when they were so bad. Um, Especially the first one, which was like he was thinking it was going to go one place and it went in another place, and the
I
place
guess
it went.
I guess I phrased that incorrectly. I was thinking the opposite way. You can do 10 really good, awesome things, but if you do one bad thing, then it doesn't matter
But
how many awesome
they
things you
weren't
do.
even awesome though. They weren't even awesome. They were just, for me, they were like everyday saves.
Up to par. What a Premier League top
Yeah,
half of the table
and
keeper should be making.
we'll talk a bit more about that when the Spurs game as well. Yeah, just saves that Premier League goalkeepers should be making. Simple as that. And he let in a really, really awful goal, which just basically, as I said, seemed like he was predicting where it was going to go, and it ended up just going in like a really, really just like nothing spot, basically. Just
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still trying to. It's some kind of interstellar stuff. That's how it got in. Um, so,
Yeah, I think it got right on the event horizon of the black hole there and went in near post.
mm.
So, um, then there is the redeeming performance from Joel Robles in the cup. or wait, how do we concede
Yeah,
3 goals to Barnsley? How do we go down 2-0?
I don't know. I don't know.
What a horrible first half. Absolutely just bad. The team was wrong. The keeper, well, I guess if you're gonna switch out the keepers, you need somebody other than Robles to.
I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to.
John Stones had a very nice hippity hop jump over a ball to let
Well,
it go in.
I mean, if you're going to put it into context, John Stones had, just put that transfer request in, hadn't he? And
Yeah, mistakenly apparently.
mistakenly he fell on it and it moved it to Martinez's desk. And
Right.
he put the transfer request in, and
It was like he's walking down the hallway and it pulled like some Forrest Gump leaf, whatever,
yeah,
just kind of
just
floated
boom.
around and went under the door and then up and landed in the inbox of Martinez's desk and yeah, it was like, oh, what is this? Oh man, I didn't mean to put that there, but since it's there, I really don't want to stay any longer.
Yeah, since it's there, well then let's get on with it. No, he put the transfer request in. Cue lots of anger, cue lots of happy journalists and Chelsea.
Yeah, Matt Laws had a really great day that day.
Yeah, it was
Matt Law, he was like, oh
second
yes,
birthday.
I get to sell stones. It's really gonna happen.
I get commission on Stones.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I mean, Everton obviously did not make a statement regarding it, regarding what had happened, and the first statement was basically the fact that they were going to play him against Barnsley. He did play. He looked ridiculously shaky and ridiculously poor by his own high standards, and
Well, he used to play there, so it's just like kind of
yeah, he just looked terrible.
homecoming nerves on top of.
No, he just looked. You could tell. He didn't want to be there that night. You could tell. But the club made a big statement by doing that, and we got through eventually. I didn't quite understand the team. There was too many changes, and Roberto Martin said he wanted to take this trophy very seriously, and he made far too many changes for me. Brought in far too many players who were not anywhere near fit, and by putting them all together, and by the anxiety at the back as well with John Stones. It just created this really, really terrible first half. Luckily enough, by putting like Ross Barkley on that and Gerard Deulofeu, obviously that sort of kick-started the game, and we eventually got through it. And afterwards, Roberto Martinez came out and very, very publicly stated that John Stones would not be going anywhere, and and he was doing the best for everybody. That's what they were basically his words. He said he was going to do the best for everybody, and obviously the next day there was a statement by the club saying he wasn't for sale, and that was basically the end of it. I mean, that was like they'd been pushed to the point where they had to make it completely known, and that was the end of it. I think personally, what should have happened is if that statement had come out at the beginning of August from Bill Kenwright, then that would have been the end of it. It's just some dude. Happy birthday. If that had come out maybe at the beginning of the month, then that might have ended it, because it was all well and fine, the club saying he's not for sale, but he always was for sale, because they never sort of officially made it known. Roberto Martinez would come out in press conferences, and people would say, "Well, why do you need to do that?" Just at the end of the day, that's the manager. Get the chairman needs to come out and say that. And as soon as Bill Cameron made that statement, that was the end of it. Everyone just said, "Well, that's the end of it for now. You know, that's it. It's all done and dusted." And you just think, well, why didn't you do that when it first happened? Mourinho even said himself, Everton haven't said he's not for sale. They've just said they've rejected a bid or whatever. Right. And I think they could have cut through all that by coming out early on and just saying, no, he's officially not for sale. We're not.
Yeah, there's even reports that Chelsea have put out there that saying that if they came back at a certain price, then he would be available.
Yeah, I mean, I personally
it's triple mixed signals.
Oh, of course it is. Chelsea trying to muddy the waters.
So the board wanted the money. Martinez said, "There's no way in heck that we are going to get rid of a player like Stones at this point of the transfer window. I'm not having it." I think that's probably closest to what went down. And then the board's like, "Oh, okay, I guess we'll figure out another way to get money."
I don't think a player is ever for sale at Everton unless the manager thinks he is, or says he is. Sorry, I think what tends to happen is one of the safeguards of a manager's position at the club is it tends to be, we will not sell players, but on the flip side, you ain't getting any money, and that's basically how it works. It's like you're not getting any money, but you know, if you want to sell a player, that's up to you. If you want to raise money, if you see 3 players that are going to make this team brilliant and you need to sell one, that's how we're going to do it. But if you want to keep this group together and keep building and don't want to sell anyone, then that's fine too. I think that's basically how it works at the club. Now, you know, I know people will say, well, what about Arteta and what about Rooney and stuff like that? There will have been times over the years where players will either have got themselves a move or Everton just had to sell them. Of course, that's happened, but I just think at this time now, I think Everton are in that position. Don't need to sell. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're in a position to. Well, obviously not in a position to go out and splash millions themselves.
Right.
But they don't need to sell players to. They've come up with other ways.
Right.
They've come up with other ways, which other people out there on Twitter, like
Watch Toffee, what? Okay.
Like Watch Toffee, will tell you all about. I don't know about those things. I get asked all the time to talk about them and comment on them. And
are you not a financial genius, Ped?
I listen. I'm not. Listen. But before you say that, and before anyone I don't think you need to be a financial expert to understand all that stuff. A lot of that stuff's in the public domain. It's just about finding it. Sometimes you have to actually pay for, like Companies House records and stuff like that. You have to pay for, and if someone wants to do that and identify what's going on or where loans and come from and all the rest of it, that all power to them. I don't fully understand a lot of. No, I do care, of course I care, but a lot of it is just like, and the other side of it is, I don't live in that world, so I don't know what is general practice. Do you know what I mean? It's like I was reading that stuff, and listen. Anyone who's
what's right, what's wrong, what's shady, what's above board, what's
Anyone who's listened to this podcast from day one knows I've had my spells where I've done all that kind of stuff. And I've known about all that stuff for a while. You know, I've known about sort of where we loan out, get our money from and stuff for a while. But you know,
British Virgin Islands and
the point is, I
else?
don't know. I've been looking at both sides, and I've seen things get said about companies and them being offshore, and then someone else will come back and go, well, actually, they're not offshore. They're registered in the UK, and all this kind of stuff. And the problem is, and this is the top and bottom of it all, I don't think any of it's illegal. So apart from, I think, that Power 8 thing, which again, I mean, it doesn't look good. Morally, it doesn't look good. Morally, stuff is. I mean, I remember when we took StubHub to task, and StubHub gave us an interview, and I asked them what, you know, and they said, well, everything's legal, and I asked them, is it morally right? And they just looked at me and to say, why does that matter?
What does that matter? We
Yeah,
can make we can make money.
We can make money.
Fans can make money.
It's not illegal.
Everybody's making money, so
exactly, and that's okay. The problem. That's the problem. You know, a lot of football clubs are doing this now, and if it's not illegal, then some people will just go, well, what are you moaning about? And that's half the problem. That's half the problem. We can all say we don't like this and we don't like that, but if the comeback is, well, it's not illegal and we're not actually doing anything wrong, then where can you go with that? Where can you go? Do you know what I mean? I mean, maybe the guy will dig deeper and find something. I don't know. I can't imagine any of it's illegal, but I can imagine a lot of it will leave a sour taste.
Yeah.
I will leave it. It'll leave a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, because a lot of people say, well, basically the club is borrowing from Peter to Paul, and that is a massive issue.
So, yeah.
But as I say,
at what point does Everton become a pyramid scheme?
That's another problem. I don't know. But then again, if someone came along and said, I'll tell you what, we'll give you 400 million via one of these schemes and it'll help you build a stadium, would anyone start kicking off about that? See, that's the problem. It's like, it's fine margins, isn't it? I mean, at the moment, we don't seem to be buying anyone, and we're borrowing money, or we're borrowing money. But
against future revenues, yeah.
But what if it kept going and we did start to buy players? I mean, there was a time when we did buy players like Andy Johnson and Yakubu, and around that time, and it was suggested that the money came from the same places, and that's the thing. See, it's like then it was getting players that were good, and now it's not, and it's finding that line, isn't it? It's finding that line when it doesn't suit everybody's what everyone wants. As I say, if someone came along and said, here's £400 million, go and build a stadium, and it was in exactly the same way as that it is now, would people moan? That I'm just being devil's advocate when I say that.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's
probably.
Not. See, again, it's a weird situation, and right. Consistency. That is a word I will use for a lot of these things. It's consistency. We'll wait and see. I'm happy to read and be educated by a lot of it, and just take it all on board.
Extrapolating and commenting.
No comments. I've got no problem with comment. I just don't go. I've just decided now that Twitter's not the right place to get all my. Listen, I got podcasts. I got radio shows. I've got Toffee TV airtime to fill. Do you know what I mean? I got time to fill. I just ain't filling it on Twitter because I just don't see the point. I will come. I will do all my other things because I've got plenty of airtime to fill. And other people's airtime, exactly. So
talk sport and everything.
So I will just. I don't need to put on.
All right, let's move ahead to the Spurs match down at White Hart Lane, 0-0. Uh, pretty pretty boring match overall. Tim Howard looked a lot better. Looked like he should in
Mm.
this match.
Yeah, made
Made
the kind of
saves
saves.
that he should make. Didn't concede goals that he shouldn't concede. Um,
Made the kind of saves that last season and the City game even that we were moaning about.
yeah,
Saves that he should have made that we lost games because of,
yeah.
and
One on
fair.
one with Harry Kane and gets a foot on it, gets a leg out on it. Um, was a lot more sound,
Mm.
controlling his box, making sure crosses were dealt with.
Yeah,
Um,
no
so yeah,
starfish, no
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 star man
starfish,
jumps, no star
no,
jumps,
yeah,
yeah,
no, just did his job. That's what we ask of him, and
no
that's fine.
floundering.
No jumping around, no jumping early, no telling the striker where to put it. What I would say about this game is, I mean, John Stones obviously played again, and this was sort of like his first. Well, obviously it was his first Premier League game, and it was sort of it was the first game after it was all being sort of sorted out,
Right.
and obviously the fans made the
Chelsea
song.
fans were still thinking, oh, maybe there's a
Yeah.
chance
Well, people
they
thought,
go to
yeah,
hell.
people out there, you just mentioned the Talksport, and I went on Talksport, and which you can find on our SoundCloud, and they were still like, oh, do you think? I was like, no, I've said all summer he's not going to go anywhere because I was always confident that there was too much going on at the club. There was all the politics like we've just talked about. There was just
Yep.
too much happening. Um, I was always
And
confident keeping
yeah,
because I thought it would cause a riot. And they were like, oh, Tuesday. Like, I was like, no, he's not going to go anywhere. Do you really think the club are going to sell him now after Martinez and the chairman have come out and said, I said, you haven't got a clue. Haven't got a
yeah,
clue.
but Chelsea's a bigger club and they can just do whatever they want and they can
But that's what.
cherry pick all the players and Everton should be happy to get 34 million pounds for him.
That's what these.
Well,
That's what these.
and you know what? We would be happy to get 34 million pounds for him if it was July.
And it was Barcelona or
Yeah, not somebody to strengthen someone else in the same league. I think there's these phases to I mean you can bring up the Moneyball reference all day long, but at some point Everton has to start keeping a hold of these young players, and if it truly is a golden generation of young players that they're trying to pull together, and they've started pulling together, and they've been playing together for 2 to 3 seasons now. If they're going to build upon that and bring in more youth, and then sprinkle in some experienced veterans here and there, then at some point you have to tell the Chelseas and the Man Cities and those of your league to just go away, leave us alone. It, it
not
it's not an option any longer.
fully
We're
fully
not
agree.
we're not your sundry shop. You're not coming in and picking and choosing and taking what you want and throwing down change on the floor and saying, "This is your lot. Accept it, move on, and be happy." Um, no thanks. So if what Martinez has said, then then these are the kind of decisions that have to be made and stood by and because we're never going to get to the point where we're competitive with that top tier team match in match out year in year out if we get rid of players like Stones without the time to replace them and he goes to a team that only strengthens and increases that gap between ourselves and the top.
No, I fully agree. But hold that thought because we'll come back to that in a minute when we talk about the transfers. I don't want to throw it all into one place. But going back to Spurs,
Yep.
what I would say is I definitely felt like Roberto Martinez was happy to take a point and a clean sheet, and I felt like we played quite. I'm not sure if negative's the right word, but I felt like we were just played within ourselves at times, and we were quite conservative in our play and the subs, like bringing Naismith on. Um, uh,
Yeah.
Instead of like Delafeu, I thought it was very. I thought what he in a way, and I felt like it was almost like a statement, as in to say, if we can get a clean sheet out of this proves that John Stones is fine, we'll be fine.
Right.
See, it hasn't all fell apart just because of what's happened.
Yeah.
Um,
I wasn't
and
sure how
also,
much.
go on.
I wasn't sure how much the 120 minutes at Barnsley on midweek, with some of the players that did go that full distance, just maybe how draining that was for
Well,
some of them.
I'm sure
Uh,
it was, yeah.
I mean, Oviedo played a ton. We're very thin at left back, um, and so it's just, I don't know. There's probably quite a few extenuating circumstances that we don't know about that possibly caused the Naismith to be the choice to come on there. Just some of the subs that were made when they were made, and maybe just the mentality of, if we nick one, great, which we very easily could have had a couple of chances
Mm,
where we could have scored and just didn't. But 0-0 at Spurs on a short rest from the cup match,
mm.
you know, going into
Yeah,
international break.
exactly. And I think that's half of you coming off Wednesday's game. All those things you've just said. You don't want to lose before an international weekend, and it's almost like the Premier League doesn't really start till after this international weekend, is over.
Which
You've
is
had
good because we got most of our hardest matches out of the way, and if they don't count, then that would be great.
well, you've got we've got plenty of hard games
Oh
coming up.
no.
But you've got the window, and then you've got you know what your squad. I mean, this is the stupid thing about the Premier League. You don't even get your 25 in till 4 games in. I mean, how stupid is that? I mean, that just shows you how stupid the transfer window is. So you've got the 2 weeks. You don't want to lose a game before that 2 weeks. So I think taking a point is a good thing, and also I think what it shows is I think these are games last season that we cried out for. We cried out for more of these games, which
Hmm.
we were just a little bit more sensible. We knew we didn't have sort of I mean, go back to last season when we played Spurs. We just came off Wolfsburg. We beat
Hmm.
Wolfsburg away. Really difficult, tricky game away. We go into the Spurs game on the Sunday. We're playing away again, and you just think if we'd done what we did this game last season, got away with a point, everyone would have thought, oh, what a great week. But we didn't. We beat Wolfsburg, then we got beat by Tottenham, and it was suddenly went from a massive high to a low.
Yep.
That's where I'm saying. I think last season we didn't do that enough. We didn't just some games just say, you know what, today we're not going to be beaten. I know that's very Moyes-esque, but sometimes that's what you need to do. And I think if we've
Yep.
done that a lot more last season, we would have finished in the top 7. We would have got a European place. You're talking about an extra 12 points. Like you just said, you go somewhere, you shut up shop, and then you nick it on the break. And I think
Yep.
in these games last
You
season,
parked the Mourinho bus.
yeah, if you want to go from Mourinho, who's won leagues, doing it. That's what you need to do sometimes. And I
Hmm.
think that's what Martinez has learned, is that you can't always be gung ho. Sometimes you have to just sit back, soak it up, and try and hit them on the break and catch them. And I just think it wasn't a great game. It wasn't the most attractive game. We had to ride our luck a few times, but that's what
Right.
happened. As I say, it wasn't the best, but we got something out of it, and we'll do that. We'll do that a few more times this season, and we'll get a few wins doing that. And it makes more sense than just being wide open and trying to play great football and losing 3-0, and at the end of it go, well, I thought we were phenomenal. We were just unlucky because Gareth Barry lost the ball, Tim Howard jumped over the ball, and something else happened,
Right.
because that was basically the story of last season.
Yep.
So,
So after
um,
4 matches, we've got 5 points, 1 win, 1 loss, 2 draws.
mm,
Um, it could be worse. It could be better, but it's getting through this transfer window,
yeah.
figuring out what players we are going to have moving forward, and let's take a break. We'll come back and talk about it. Alrighty. All right, we're back on Follow-tonians. So transfer window has since closed, and John Stones is still an Evertonian. Well, I don't think he's ever been an Evertonian, but he plays for Everton. At least that's what all of the Chelsea fans will tell you. He doesn't even like Everton. Let him go. Let him come play for us.
The fans attacked his house. No, they didn't.
They screamed horrible things at him at the Spurs match.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
No. They created a new song which is absolutely awesome. Anything Beatles related is awesome. But
yeah.
So
he stayed. That's not a shock to me. He stayed, and it was just whether we could do anything. Transferred Funes Mori, obviously we'd known about.
Yes, the brunette De La Feu.
I met the guy. He seemed kind of nice. He's got.
Was he better or worse than the last Argentinian that I've met for Everton?
Oh, I think he might be a little bit better than the Strack.
A little more understanding of English.
Well, I think he speaks English very good because he
lived in Dallas for quite a few years. Yeah. His family moved.
He could have been a US men's international, couldn't he, if he'd wanted to?
I believe so, but why would you do that whenever you get playing time for Argentina instead?
Well, he could have chose the easy option, couldn't he? But he decided, no, I will.
I want to go to Everton.
Yeah, I want to go to Everton. I want to go to Everton, sit on the bench. So yeah, he's come in with this ridiculous 9.5 million tag, which massively shocked a lot of people because obviously it was originally 5.5 or 6.5 or 6 or whatever, and it turns out the reason we had to pay it looks like the reason we're having to pay so much is because
there's a buyer's fee.
Basically, he was owed a lot of money by River Plate, and Everton just give up the money because they'd already shown him. Basically, there's already a lot of pictures of him on the internet.
With you.
Yeah. So I've cost Everton $3 million. I apologise.
Right.
So they decided to pay up. By the looks of it, that looks like the thing. So he obviously came in. Obviously, he'd been signed for like ages, but they just said, "Hey, transfer deadline day. Let's create some excitement. Let's make it look like we've been busy." So they brought him in, and then we were sort of expecting a busy day. I think there was a lot of targets they were trying to look at or trying to do.
Yeah, apparently the Yarmolenko deal, if it would have happened in July, similar to the Stones to Chelsea thing, it would have been more likely to happen if it happened earlier, or maybe it's just lip service from the owner of Dynamo Kiev or whatever. But if they get knocked out of the Champions League, then maybe we can still get them in January.
I think the problem with the Yarmolenko deal was always the owner. It was just always the owner. You know, he just wasn't willing to sell the guy.
I mean, he's a very key piece to their team. So I
mean, we can't really moan.
I don't know. It's the opposite side of the same penny for as far as John Stones. You can't. Yeah. I'm not mad at Yarmolenko. I'm not mad at the Dynamo Kiev's owner for not selling him. Yeah. I would have loved to had him come into our squad and be very dynamic. But you know, if someone doesn't want to sell one of their players, then
you have to respect that.
Do you? Do you really have to respect the fact that somebody doesn't want to sell something that they own?
Yeah, some people don't feel like you need to.
Free Yarmolenko.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever tweet anything like that? No.
I don't think
I don't remember seeing anybody moaning from an Everton standpoint about how Dynamo Kiev is not selling Yarmolenko. Chelsea, just go away.
We ain't dicks, so we don't do things like that. So, and then I don't know. Obviously, they did the Aaron Lennon deal, which
is confusing, but
Felt rushed because I don't think they would have signed him if they had managed to get a couple of other signings, and I think they would have happily left them till January. But they
sure.
decided to. I think they decided to bring him in and
Well,
bolster the squad, and he's a good player. Listen, he was great last season, so I'm
we
not
had a
going to.
lot of extra number 12s laying around, and we needed someone to wear one of those shirts.
Yeah, it's number 12. He would have been maybe might have been number 7 if they could have got it done a little bit earlier. McGeady
Or
linked,
25 if they did it like 3 hours earlier.
yeah, McGeady linked with Sunderland on loan. So, and obviously Naismith was linked as well. Well, linked. Norwich apparently bid £8 million for him,
Right,
which,
which everybody's going mad. How do you not take £8 million for Naismith?
well, again, no, I mean, for whatever anyone thinks about Naismith, do we have another Naismith in the squad? Do we have that kind of person you can? I mean, look at it when they threw him on at Spurs. I mean, he caused mayhem. He got
Yeah,
us a few free kicks. He got us up the field.
he
He just
should have
creates.
gotten us a penalty. He should have
Yeah,
gotten us a penalty. I,
he's a
I,
new.
I completely forgot about that. It's been so long, but I
Mm,
think that Stonewall penalty gets drug in the box,
mm.
drug down. I
But
think that's a penalty.
he was a nuisance. He was a nuisance, and that's what he has. He has that nuisance factor. I'm not sure any of our players have that. You can throw him on, or you can start him, and he'll give you what he's got, and you just.
At least not nuisances to the other team. Some of them are nuisance to our own squad.
Yeah. But I just think I don't think we've got that anywhere else in the squad. Is
Yeah,
that worth 8 million? I'm not sure. I'm not
yeah.
sure, but
Then we got Leandro Rodriguez.
yeah, I don't know that guy.
Um, nobody does. I reached out to some of
I
my
don't
my
know that guy.
contacts from Argentina, a couple of guys that do the Hand of podcast, and they talk about football in Argentina, the club, and then the
Mm.
national team, and they're like, well, he's Uruguayan, and he didn't ever play much for River Plate, so we don't know anything about this guy. Like, thanks.
Well, he plays for River Plate in Uruguay, so they probably wouldn't. So that's probably why I didn't know
Well,
anything about
but they,
America.
they they should know something about him since he plays for River Plate, but
Yeah, but it's River Plate Uruguay, not River Plate Argentina.
well, there you go.
Yeah, and this silence from Eric Howell for the first time ever.
Well, it's
Um,
it's like near there.
yeah. Listening to Tim Vickery,
I
who.
don't know anybody from Uruguay,
Okay.
so how am I
Stop,
supposed to talk to
stop
them?
trying to do research on people if you don't even. Anyway, Tim Vickery, who is a BBC journalist
Yeah, yeah.
in Brazil, who
World Football phone in.
some people just think nothing good about him for some reason because a couple of players he said he thought were going to be good weren't good, and but anyway he said that this guy he didn't know too much about him, but what he did say is that most of the good talent plays in the under 20s South American tournament. That's where I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a way to describe it, but it's the kind of tournament where it's like a meat market. It's like that.
Hmm.
That's where you find the next big thing. That's where all the major
The
scouting goes
showcase,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like where Messi was like discovered, and it's like where you see players and you go, they're amazing. Keep an eye on them. We'll follow them. A lot of the big teams send scouts there, and he basically he never played in it. So
So
that
if he never
so
played in it, then
so what he said was by the process of elimination, if he never played in it, then he finds it hard to understand how he could be good enough for the Premier League. Basically,
right.
he's been playing in the Uruguayan league, which, regardless of Uruguayan players at the moment in the world, he said it's not very good, and he fails to understand how he could be good enough to go straight into a first team squad in the Premier League. Again, he just so I'm just taking his word for it, and that's I hope the guy is good. I hope for the risk it is. I mean, it's what, 500,000. We'll wait and see. He might be good enough that we just train him up and then sell him on and make a £1 million profit on him or something like that. Who knows?
Right.
It happens. Sometimes you get shocked. Sometimes a kid comes from somewhere and you go, where did he come from? So that's worth the risk. On the Funes Murray.
Yep.
Tim Vickery does not like Funes Murray. He does not think he's good enough. He does not think he's fast enough.
Horrible passer. He's not fast
Well,
enough.
he said all these things. I mean, I'm inclined to just take his word for it and respect his decision. My feelings is that he's not going to go straight into the first team, so he's going to have the best part of a season training with Premier League players, getting better, and getting used to the pace and getting a start here and a start there, and just getting used to the Premier League and English football. He is an Argentinian. He played this weekend in the 7-0 win over Bolivia. I think that was his second cap. He and a lot of people, again, I've had this out on Twitter where people are having a go at Tim Vickery, and I'm not like backing the guy up saying, well, he knows everything. But it annoys me when people get really defensive about players that we've bought, but you've never seen them, and that's what annoys me. It's like, well, I've never seen this kid. You might have seen him a few times on YouTube. Yeah, but he's in there. But they love him over there. Well, they love him because he played in their equivalent of the Champions League, won it, and scored in the final. But that doesn't mean he's their standards as good as us, because you only have to look at when their teams go and play our teams in the World Championship thing. They always get battered by our Champions League winner. And we'll wait and see.
Well, Corinthians did well a couple of years back.
We'll wait and see. We'll just see what happens. But you've got to. If someone says, well, he needs to do this and he needs to do that and he needs to do the other, well, then you say, cool, let's work on those things. Then, do you know what I mean? Yep. They're the things he needs to work on, and they're the thing. Apparently his passing can let him down at times, and he's a bit of a described as a yobo kind of character. Let's work on that. If there's the things he needs to work on, then let's work on those things. That's simple. Dead simple. Martinez's track record in buying in Central America and South America is not amazing. Let's be honest. When he was at Wigan, he bought a guy who was like their record. It was the record buy for Wigan. A guy had scored a lot of goals. I don't think he scored one for Wigan, and he was shipped back quite quickly. So we'll wait and see. Yeah. It's not my opinion. I don't know anything about the guy. I'm just saying. But then
there's another youth player brought in from Barnsley.
Whose name is?
That starts with an H, doesn't it?
Holgate.
Yeah.
Just another young player. It's hard to dismiss young players anymore after John Stones, isn't it? Seems quite in the same kind of same vein as the player. Not quite the same circumstances of how we got him. Basically, he had a year left on his contract and he refused to sign a new one. So we got him on the cheap, basically. Probably signed him before we'd like to have signed him, but he was there to sign because he only had a year left. So I don't know whether maybe I'll get sent out on loan for the rest of the year. I don't know whether maybe I'll get bedded into the under 21s. I don't know. We'll wait and see. It would probably make more sense to send him on loan for a year. The loan market, I think, is still open for Championship clubs, so that could be something that could happen. Or he could stay with us for the rest of the year and then maybe go on loan next season. Who knows? Who knows how it'll shape up? But we've still got the core of our squad. And going back to what you said before about the golden generation, I think what's disappointing about the window is that we've improved the squad, but I don't know how much we've improved the team. Cleverly's come in and he's done really well, and it's massively, massively disappointing that he's now injured for 2 months. Really, really.
Is it 8 weeks? Yeah.
Yeah, because he was doing really, really well. He went straight into the team, slotted in, brilliant, done really, really well.
Horrible tackle.
Well, depends which way you look at it. I mean,
From
it was just
behind.
it looked bad, but I don't know if it I don't know if it was bad as it looked. It was, but those kind of tackles are supposed to be getting outlawed. That's just a tackle.
Right.
But what I definitely would say is that we haven't improved the team enough, and at some point, players well. At some point last week, players like John Stones will want to leave the club because they don't see us challenging and they don't see enough and they don't see the team improving enough that we can challenge. And it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine keeping all your good players, but you've got to add to those good players with
Absolutely.
better players. And someone like Yarmolenko would have been an amazing sign, and he would have been someone that instantly made the team better.
Yep.
He would have been a fantastic signing.
So everybody root against Dinamo Kiev.
But he'll probably end up going to somewhere like Barcelona. That's the only problem. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Or somewhere in Germany.
We've got to be looking at bringing players like that in now, because if you want to keep these players, you've got to better the team, because it won't be long before someone like Ross Barkley looks at the side and says, well, where's this team actually going? I'm looking at my peak years. And if you said to John Stones, is someone going to sign X, Y, and Z, and they're all top players, that's made that we're going to start challenging for the top four again. I'm sure the guy give us an extra couple of years to see what happened. But if he's not seeing any significant developments in that first team, if he's not seen as by players, I mean, we all know where the weaknesses are.
Right.
It's about improving on them weaknesses. It's about moving the McGeady's out of the team. It's about getting back up a really good backup right back. It's about getting someone who's a long-term successor to Gareth Barry. Maybe that player's already at the club, but that player needs to start playing in that position if he's already in the club.
If it's Besic, he needs to get more time.
Yeah, exactly. If it's someone like Romelu Lukaku, you can imagine next summer if he has a good Euros that there'll be a feeding frenzy. We've already started to see people sniffing around him about some of his performances, and that will only increase. And that to me is clear signal that if Everton don't start going forward soon, they're going to very much start going backwards. So next summer obviously we get the new big TV deal. It's huge money everywhere, but everyone's going to have money. So what you're going to find is
everybody just costs more.
Everyone will just be buying players, and everyone will just cost more. But we've got to be in the pack, because if we're not, then we're going to be left behind by Stokes, Palace, all these teams, Swansea. Some would say they're already leaving us behind, but you look at them, Southampton, you look at these teams, and you think they're the teams we're in competition with now. 2 seasons ago, we were in competition with Spurs and Liverpool and Arsenal for that top 4 and just missed out. We need to start putting ourselves in a position where we get back up there, because standing still in football is the equivalent of going backwards, and that's what we've basically done for the last couple of summers. Even though last summer we bought Romelu Lukaku for that kind of money, we effectively just paid money for a player we already have. So in fact, we just stood still, and that's what I'm saying. In football, if you stand still, you go backwards. So either January or next summer, we're going to have to start being ambitious, because if we're not ambitious, then the players we have will be ambitious, and they will decide that they're going to want to move on. And if one goes, 2 will go.
Dominoes.
2 go, 3 will go. It is dominoes. It really is. And we've got the likes of Lukaku, Stones. They're all going to be looking elsewhere. I know they're on good contracts, but someone will come in and pay the money, because there's so much. Look at Man City. They don't mess about. If they see a player they want, they just go get them. They're not bothered. And Chelsea will have to go back to that model soon, because Chelsea will have to go, well, actually, if we want this player, we can't mess about. We've just got to pay what the club want plus 5 million, which is effectively what Man City have done this summer. So we've got away with it this summer to a point. We'll wait and see what happens. But keeping your players is not a success. It's not a success.
It's not. No.
Anyone who thinks that, you're wrong. I guarantee you are wrong, because you have to keep improving all the time in football. Maybe some people say we have, because we've got Lennon but Lennon was a player we had for the second half of last season. So in a way, we've gone back to who we were last season. Delfeu's great, um, you know,
Yep.
but to me, what we've essentially done this summer is just kept our players and replaced players that have left with other
Like,
players. So
yeah,
to a squad that was small hasn't really got any bigger.
right.
But I'll do the other side of that, I suppose, is we'll have to wait to see what the younger players coming through provide. I mean, obviously, Brendan Galloway's come in, Browning's come in.
Yep.
Let's see what they can provide. But I genuinely think this is the last year we can afford to mess about and not go out and buy key players in key areas.
Yeah. Should we talk about the Chelsea match?
Let's briefly talk about it. Let's give them an inch of respect that they deserve. Not that I think they deserve it.
Okay. So they're coming to Goodison. They don't have any stones.
No stones. No stones.
And
because Martinez said he wasn't for sale, and I was satisfied.
Yep. I think we can get something out of this. They're not playing all that great. They definitely need a center half.
No, they're not playing well. They looked shaky. The manager is in one of his strops, and you know he's in one of his strops because he went out and bought crap, and that is a normal trait of Mourinho. He goes out and buys crap, and that is almost like his signal to the owner that he's not happy because he just basically goes, right, I'm not happy. I'm just going to go buy crap, and you watch how it affects our team. It'll be rubbish, and it's all your fault, basically.
Yep.
That's how he works. No, they got beat by Crystal Palace in the last game. They don't seem to be quite functioning yet. Ivanovic apparently is having a bit of a torrid time. Fabregas hasn't really started well. Matic hasn't started well.
Hazard's gone missing.
Yeah, Hazard hasn't been himself. I think what we need to do in this game is just get at them from the start. Hopefully Goodison will be a bear pit for this game because fans will take everything out on Mourinho. So, you know, the Mourinho songs will be getting sung, the John Stones song, and it'll be an absolute bear pit. And I can't wait for it. And I think, you know, the players have got to react to that. It'll be interesting to see how John Stones reacts to it. But, you know, he's been on international leave. He played for England against San Marino, which are obviously not the hardest team to play against. Ross scored obviously in that game as well.
Yeah, opened up his account for England full senior squad. So
I think they just you know, we'll just get on with it and hopefully, not saying it'll kickstart our season, but I think I'm hoping it'll kickstart the getting Goodison back to the atmospheres. So instead of taking frustrations out on our players, we get to take our frustration out on other teams' players.
Yeah.
And this is a good way to start, you know.
August was not an easy run of matches. September and October are just mad.
Doesn't get any better.
Not until November. Not until November can you actually like look at the fixture list and say, you know what? Yep. Okay. This looks like a more easier task at head, but September is just mad, and
you just gotta get on with it, haven't we?
Yeah. So, yeah, right now September is Chelsea, Swansea, West Brom away. Not that big of a deal, but you know they kind of had the same fight as far as not selling players and wanting to keep a hold of players. So we go to Reading for the cup. Then October is Liverpool's, United, and Arsenal. Just mad. More madness.
No.
I don't know.
Get on with it.
So all of those matches will probably be concluded by the time we meet again, Ped, but maybe not. Maybe we can do more shows between now and the end of October.
Yeah, one or two.
One or two. All right. Say goodbye, Ped. All right. Come on, you Blues. Let's go. You there?
Sorry, I completely lost you then for a moment. I just completely lost you just went completely out. Go on. What do you say?
No, I just ended the show.
Okay, sorry. You just the sound just went.
I said goodbye. Said say goodbye, Ped, and then you didn't say anything. I'm like, well, there you go. Come on, you Blues, let's go.
No, the sound just completely went. I don't know what it
Yeah,
was.
at
Weird.
least it wasn't Robotnik Ped.
Oh well. 200 in the books.
Yep.
Oh. How's your day looking?
I think Trace and I are gonna go grab something, some brunch or something here.
Ooh, brunch. Which brand?
No, he's at my parents'.
Oh,
We all went out to dinner for Tracy's birthday last night.
cool. Cool. I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me stones.
What do you got going on the rest of the day? And then we're off.
Nothing.
We're off. We've got holiday tomorrow.
Oh, Labor Day, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing. Ours was last week, wasn't it? So.
Yeah. You guys are weird.
What?
I said you guys are weird.
Yeah. We invented you guys, so I think it's you guys who are weird.
Then that's your fault.
But no, well, we invented a better version, and you ruined it because you wanted your own shit.
Because we wanted guns.
You wanted guns, guns and whores.
Well, this is on YouTube still, so I'll